My name is Debbie Silverberg, and I am here for the first of many wonderful evenings of online events from the Rockland Arts Festival. My name is Debbie Silverberg, and I am thrilled that you are here tonight. I hope you got a chance to view our events for Friday and Saturday. They were wonderful, and if you missed them, they'll be on our YouTube channel soon. Tonight, we have lots to enjoy, including a presentation from Barbara Galizzo, an artist and a longtime curator, on the importance of local art. We will also talk to 12 artists about their work and get a chance to view all the amazing pieces of art submitted by this year's art festival members. Finally, Dorothy Atzel from the from Arts Council of Rockland will announce the ACOR Art Awards, which will let us know the top 3 people's choices. If you have any questions, the Q&A is working, and I will check in on that. Thank you very much. So we're going to start off with Barbara Galizzo. Good evening, Barbara. How are you today?
Oh. Hi, Debbie. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here and honored that Rockland Arts asked me to talk. Do you want me to just jump right into?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm talking about why local art is important. I think that local arts plays a crucial role in enriching communities and fostering a sense of identity among artists. They connect us, they help us understand ourselves and others, they inspire us, and local art defines who we are and lets artists be seen, all while driving economic growth, creating jobs, and bringing our culture forward. So I constantly hear that arts don't make money for towns, for artists, or that exhibits don't make money for organizations. So if you don't mind, I'm going to geek out for just a couple of minutes. So in 2023, the arts represented 4.2% of the GDP. It's a $151 billion industry in our country, and it supports 2.6 million jobs in the US. That doesn't include event-related spending. So towns that are interested in arts are getting more than just culture and a quality of life benefits, which are vital and central to livable communities, but they're also getting economic benefits. Nationally, they're generating government revenue and they're strengthening local tourism, hospitality, and retail sales. So just on an average, a person attending an exhibit or crafts event or performance spends $38.46 per person on an event in that town, because they have dinner before the event, they have drinks or dessert afterward, and then they shop in the town. So, they're getting we're contributing, right, to the overall of the well-being of our communities. If your organization has an exhibit, people come in to see that exhibit. If you sold any art from that, it's direct money. But more indirectly, those people that come to see your event might find out that your organization has concerts, or they show films, or whatever. That just brought in new patrons in your organization and now made you money. I think a lot of artists have the mindset that art doesn't make any money. They do it because they love it, or actually a lot of people think that, right? Artists should do what they do because, oh, they love it. They don't need to get paid. And I think it's time that as artists, we readjust that thinking, because we do bring money into the towns that we live in. We bring pride, we bring a creative funkiness that people love, culture and awareness of social and political climate of our times. And the arts change things socially and politically. So that funkiness brings people in and can change things. So just to give you an example of cultural identity, think of places like New Orleans, which is known for jazz, Beacon art scene, which attracted the Dia, or the Magic Gardens in Philadelphia. In Rockland, you had 3 separate communities of well-known artists who came here in the last century and brought the arts with them from the city, right? Rockland became known nationally because of those artists. And they started Roca because they wanted to celebrate the arts in the community with talent of themselves and of people of the same stature, but that lived in Rockland. You also have cultural traditions that are upheld in local communities. Local art activities bring people together. It gives us a sense of belonging. We belong to this community. We start art events that people come to. So whether you're attending performances, joining art classes, or participating in community art projects, local arts create opportunities for social interaction and collaboration. And I think most importantly, local arts give young artists an opportunity to learn, grow, and interact with more experienced artists. Young artists may go into the arts and then bring it back into the community. Maybe they make it really big, in the art world, and bring a sense of pride to that community. I think Zaria Foreman, if any of you know her, is from Rockland, and she's a really good example. ACOR, Rockland Arts Festival, and the Nyack Art Collective are good examples of organizations that nurture artists. They work together to promote the artist from the area, and it's sort of like when you get involved in a collective like that, artists start to feed off of each other creatively, and everybody grows in the same, at the same time. So ACOR does a great job of, their mentor program. They also have the Hidden Treasures, which exposes artists to thousands of people at the mall. But in addition to that kind of exposure, there's also well-being and quality of life in local arts. Participation in the arts and cultural activities has been linked to improved mental health, increased emotional well-being, and enhanced quality of life. So during COVID, I noticed that a lot of local artists were online, and they were offering, how to paint, or they were giving concerts, and it helped the whole community learn how to express themselves, some people in different ways, but also for stress relief. And it just contributed to the overall community wellness, which I think just can't be overstated enough. I think probably, as most of you know this, but if you work with your hands, you increase your life expectancy by 10 years. So it's really good for to work with seniors in the area, because it helps with tactile, visual, and cognitive aspects of their growth. Also, local arts, you have urban revitalization and neighborhood development. And I think that you can see that best if you look at Beacon, right? Beacon had a town administration and politicians who wanted to bring Beacon back to life, because it was pretty dead. And they let the artists do these projects. They wanted to show films on abandoned buildings, or they wanted to paint the all the boarded up windows, and Beacon let them do it. They let them have festivals, and before you know it, the Dia caught wind of Beacon and then decided to put their museum there. So now Beacon is on the maps nationally and internationally, right? And a lot of towns know this, that if they bring the arts in, they can improve everything for the area. So local arts help in education, cognitive development, critical thinking, problem solving skills, and it gives people of all ages actually skills of how to express themselves creatively and explore their interests. It's a shame that the arts are always like the first thing to be on the chopping block in schools, but literally it helps kids focus, retain information, develop empathy. It helps them with skills in math even. So, exposing kids in our community to all kinds of teachings. They learn about other cultures, and it helps their minds grow. Civic engagement and social change, I don't have to tell any of you, but local arts have the power to provoke thought, start conversations, and inspire social change. Artists usually make their platforms to address social issues and advocate for justice and promote community activism. It fosters a civic awareness and usually changes things. So in summary, local arts play a multifaceted role in shaping the culture, our social, economic, and educational fabric of communities. They contribute to the community vitality, they foster creativity and expression, and they enrich the lives of individuals and our society as a whole. So, as an artist, I thank you all for being artists.
So thank you so very much. I have a question from one of our attendees. They want to know, as a beginning artist, what kind of advice do you have?
The main thing I
Yes,
think is
they're asking you
play.
as a curator, what is the best advice you have for a new artist?
To play with your craft. Don't be afraid to experiment and to do it every day. You don't have to create a masterpiece every day, but I think in the beginning, you really have to get into the habit of doing it every day, even if it's only for 15 minutes, because that consistency and that willingness to be able to play and make mistakes helps you figure out who you are, what your work is about, and where you want to go with it. And I think until you do that, you really don't know.
Thank you. And I thank you for making me feel good as a local artist, and sharing all the different kinds of impacts that us artists have in our communities. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we make a tremendous impact in so many ways, and I think it's not given its due. It really isn't. But I think that's a lot of that is up to us. Be proud you're an artist and know you're worth something.
Thank you. That's a great place
Thank you.
to move on from, knowing that we're worth something. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to 9 or 10 different artists, and let them explain some of their work, and then ask them a question about it. So the first person I am looking for is Isabella Capanana. If you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, it's Isabella
Hi.
Capana,
It's
but
what? Sorry.
it's okay. Don't worry about it. How are you guys?
We're
This is my
good.
first time I'm doing public speaking since high school, so I'm a little nervous.
Well,
But I wanted to speak about this piece that I have on the website. So I did this actually 3 years ago. But it's like one of my favorite pieces. And my inspiration for this piece was the Northern Lights and the starry sky and just like the colors. I'm very enamored by like how the sky is always changing. Like I always stop and take pictures of the sky whenever I can. I think it's incredible that every day you see something different. And the northern lights are beautiful, and I wanted to incorporate that into this piece. So with that, mountains are the same way. You never see the same mountain twice, and the way the light shines on it and creates shadows, and it always changes. So my process in painting this piece was fairly simple. It was also something new to me because I haven't been painting for very long. I've been drawing for a lot longer. And I looked to Bob Ross for some tips and tricks on how to create beautifully painted mountains. I absolutely adore that man. For the background, I just used a flat paintbrush and I blended the paint together. And I added texture to the mountains with a palette knife, and I used a fan brush to just create the snow and the stars, and it all started coming together. And while painting, I wasn't quite sure exactly how it was gonna come out because I've never done it ever. But I surprised myself, and I'm really happy like how it came out. And I feel like that happens a lot when you just start painting, like you never know and you mess up and you're like, oh no, but then it just turns out into like this beautiful thing once you keep going and you keep creating. So all in all, like I loved being able to see like what I envisioned in my head and come onto the canvas. So that's really
It's
it. But
it's
thank
beautiful.
you. Thank
The
you.
details in the mountains are amazing. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen the Northern Lights?
I haven't. I've only seen pictures, but they're gorgeous and I would love to go.
I have faith you'll get there.
I hope so.
Um, I looked on your Instagram account, and
Yes.
you had this phrase that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, and it was the world without art is just eh.
Yeah.
What made you choose that one?
Um, because I honestly just agree. Like I see art everywhere and like beauty in everything. The other day, for example, I was eating French toast and I cut into it and I saw a heart like in the bread. And I just think that, and like I told my friend, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" But I feel like when you're able to see the beauty in everything, like if you can't see it, it's just like, you know what I mean? You always look everywhere with the sky, the stars, like how the wood looks on the floor. You can always see beauty in everything. So without beauty, the world is just
That's perfect. You said
thank
it
you.
beautifully.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being on, and you did well for your public speaking.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And next, can I speak to Kelsey Negron, please?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So tell us about how you created this piece.
Yeah, sure. So, this piece that I submitted for the festival is part of a series of photographs that I did back when I was in college, which wasn't too long ago. It was about 2 or 3 years ago. I was actually a senior during COVID, and I was taking a photography class where I had to, over the course of the entire semester, I had to create a series of 20 photos. And because it was during the pandemic, I didn't have access to like people or models that I wanted to work with for photography. So I just sort of went around my house seeing what I had access to. And I ended up digging through my closet and finding all of these old memories and things that my parents have kept over the years. And then also finding some old board games as well. So I ended up doing a series of photographs of these physical collages of all of these memories that I had and mixing them with board game pieces. And then taking these photos and editing them in Photoshop. And this is the result. And each collage includes a bunch of memories, the board game pieces, some scattered words from the memories, as well as a photo of myself. So there I am next to my dad. And the series ended up being, um, I guess I would say a series of self portraits in a way. Each one included a photo of myself, and I ended up exploring all these different things that have shaped me over the years, my culture, my gender, all through these little photos. So that's sort of how I ended up making this one. And the board game that I use for this is Scrabble, which is also the name of the piece. It's called Scrabble.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Is there a particular emotion for this piece that you were aiming for, or a time
This one
period?
sort of encapsulates my early childhood. So things are kind of scattered. I was focused on like, yeah, the letters and building words and things. But I pulled the brown words that you see sort of scattered are pulled from this index card here. My parents kept this, and it was just a bunch of random words that I wrote down when I was a kid. Um, so that's sort of how that came together.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. I love the placement and the playfulness of this.
Yeah,
And you can, book, look, it all rhymes. And so
yeah.
it captures it very, very well. Um, and I thank you. This is wonderful. Can I speak to Judith Nesserson? Okay. I guess Judith is not here. How about Rebecca?
Hello.
Hi there.
Okay,
How are
so
you?
I am good. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Bella, you are not the only one that's nervous. I started crocheting to as a therapy, and I'm doing it right now, right before I even speak, so I could, calm my nerves. So my name is Rebecca. My crochet business is called Crochet Mia. It came from, like I said, when I started this, it was a therapy for me, self diagnosed, I guess. But then as people started asking me for things, it's like, can you crochet Mia this? Can you crochet Mia that? And my artistic brain heard crochet Mia, and it turned into what it is today. I'm also Latina, so some people think that it means my crochet, which I'll go with, but that's not what it means. And then people will call me Mia, thinking I'm a Mia who crochets, but that is not me at all. I'm Rebecca, but my dog is Mia. That is her name. So the piece that I'm showing, I have a couple pieces in the collection. It's called the Borinquen collection, and they're a collection of tote bags that I make that are inspired from my island of Puerto Rico. Borinquen is the Taino name, which is our indigenous Indians of our island, and that is the name that Puerto Rico was originally called by them. The bags, these are called my jibaritas, which are like our country girls, and it's inspired by the music, the style, a traditional folk style of it's called bomba y plena, and they would wear the dresses, very bright dresses, and communicate with percussion. So the dancer would dance, the percussionist would follow the moves, and vice versa, and that's what these bags are inspired by. The culture today is very widespread, but I also wanted to add a little, modernism with the details, so that I could feel, and also anybody who felt connected to them could feel that they could still be in touch with our traditions of the past.
Well, they are wonderful. um, uh, are you inspired by what you see or what you see in your head? Do you use a photograph to crochet from? Is it
No,
from your
usually from like the places that I've been, even here in the Hudson Valley. A lot of my pieces are inspired by music, by culture, by color especially. So, like the colors of the island, our flag is red, white, and blue, which is this. The yellow is inspired by the sun. The flower is inspired by the hibiscus flower, which is one of our national flowers. So then everything, it's like I like to play with the yarns that I use are a lot of different textures. So it's very much inspired by things that I smell, even the way that, you know, all of my pieces, I want to give a feeling of warmth and coziness, because the people of our island are very accepting of everyone who comes to see us, and you become family as soon as we meet you.
That's great. You put on your Instagram the Maya Angelou quote. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. What does that mean to you?
To me, when I was, there was a period in my life where we all go through it, and we'll probably go through it again, where we have creative blocks. And I started just creating things. And once I was done with that, I started like just generating ideas in my head of something else I wanted to create. And then my nothingness of no ideas just became a list, which keeps growing, and I have not even finished whatever's on that list to this day. Last year I started a 100 days of art challenge, which I never finished. I had 365 days to do it, and I never finished it. I had 9 projects left to go, but I gave myself grace because I made 91 projects that I have never, ever crocheted before. They were brand spanking new pieces that I've never touched. And each one of them just gave me, the list keeps growing.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your ladies. I think they're wonderful.
Thank you.
Can I speak to Melissa, please? Okay.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. Hi.
How are you?
I'm Alyssa Scroy, and this is the painting that's in the Rockland Arts Festival. Thank you very much for the Arts Festival. I appreciate it. I don't plan my paintings out. I paint and the shapes and the colors kind of call me. And usually I paint on loose canvas, primed canvas, big rolls of canvas, and I'll cut it down and then I'll stretch it myself. So that's how this one was. It's large, it's 54 by 36, and it's finished form. And this one came about by just often colors or shapes will inspire me. And the play between orange and pink. And I didn't really love pink. You know, pink is such a traditional, like girly color, and I never really liked that. I think it's overused that way. But in painting, it has such a beautiful relationship with other colors, and orange and green and blue, and it looks beautiful. So most of it, there's lots of underpainting here. It's the kind of play between the orange and the pinks. And then the stronger colors came on top of that. And then the line work comes on that. Now that's very arbitrary. That happened to be with this one. Lots of times it goes layers and layers. And so it's a play between that kind of chaos or accidental marks and then a purposeful thing. And I love that tension between them. And like, you know, we kind of tip over into one edge or tip over into the other. And then you kind of have to find your way through that. And I love that kind of self-expression and self-exploration that happens with this kind of painting for me.
Yeah.
So that's
I love the colors. I think you're wonderful.
you.
Is there a particular emotion that you were feeling while you were painting this, or that is connected for you to this piece?
You know, it's hard to say. People ask me that, and there's sometimes like I love what people see in my paintings, because some people will say, "Oh, you look so happy in that one." "Oh, you look like you must have been mad in that painting." And even if I start with that feeling, there's something about painting that is it goes beyond feelings for me. I may start there, but then it's like so engrossing. It's almost like for me, it's a soul expression. And so it's beyond thinking or feeling. But this one kind of did feel happy. And I named it Arising because there was something just uplifting about it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the emotions don't stay. The painting kind of takes over.
Yeah. For me, it's being in the zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Exactly. They're just connected, and nothing else really exists. The
Mhm.
mood I was in when I walked into the studio is long gone. It comes back when I walk back out, but the painting is gone, and I love that.
Well, it's beautiful. I love the play on colors. I like the pinks and the oranges, and I agree. You can see many different things in this particular painting. I know I am.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that's the fun part about it. I appreciate that. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Is Diana here? I don't see her. Okay, can I speak to David Green, please? Okay. How about Victoria? Are you here? I know you're here,
Yes,
actually.
I'm here.
How are
Thank
you?
you. I'm good. How are you?
So
Uh,
tell us about the video you created.
well, I was going to speak to
Oh,
what
absolutely.
movement art is, if that's okay.
Beautiful, by
Because,
all means.
yeah, I worked as a ballet and modern dancer for many years. And so now when I say I'm a movement artist as opposed to a dancer, people are like, huh, okay, that's different. So the way I create is via ekphrastic improvisation. So it's art being created off of other pieces of art, works of art. So I generate movement from the other piece of art that I'm working with. So I often work site specifically or in natural settings. For me, nature is the most inspirational art and is so much fun to communicate with. So this method really allows me to find kind of a moving meditation where my nervous system can relax. And someone who deals with a lot of anxiety, this has been just such a beautiful way to kind of bring meditation in while still creating at the same time. My mentor, Kei Nishikawa, taught me to sort of prepare the body as clay, and then I treat the space around me as my canvas. So my imagination gets to play with infinite forms of material, texture, paint, calligraphy, sound. This art form, when treated as a practice, I think really makes me a better human in the way that I am connecting with other people on the planet. And my mission in performing these works is really to evoke in the viewer a playful curiosity, a peaceful heart, and a reverence to the interconnectedness of all things. So on February 4th, my friend and fellow movement artist Tatiana Kott and I will be in a space where there are 4 planters, and there's going to be a violinist there as well. And we'll be moving between the 4 planters, and each basically side of the rectangle will represent a different element of nature, element of matter. So earth, water, fire, and air. And over the summer, I worked with a writer, San Francisco-based writer, Elizabeth Snowden, and we're pulling phrases from her writing as inspiration. So there'll be little jars on each planter, and we'll pull out a phrase, and the audience can come over and take a look and see what we're interpreting in that moment. So I'm really excited to be a part of this festival. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We're very lucky to have you. And I've found on your website the video that was connected to this, and you truly looked like you were sculpting in the middle. It was just beautiful to see. I was very taken by the way you were moving your arms. I thought they were just wonderful. And I guess what I was curious about was what was on the grass when you started it. You called it mandala,
Yeah.
and it looked as though you were creating a mandala when you first started. So I was just sort of curious what you were using for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for that, I was using dried flowers, and that was actually inspired from a trip to India where I saw a man creating a mandala on the ground with fresh flowers. And I wanted to use that sort of as just like a focal point. And then from there, I was able to actually look at that mandala from the stage and use that for my movement. So I was able to create my own art to then create more art from, which was something I hadn't done before. So that was fun.
It was beautiful. And thank you for being part of the Arts Festival.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Can I speak to Sean, please?
Hello,
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So
Well,
tell us about your piece.
okay, well, let me get up for a second. That's the piece. A lot of my pieces are, well, pretty much most of my pieces I paint while I'm listening to music. So I get a vibe from the music. I don't really go into my paintings knowing what I'm gonna do. They just kind of happen, and then after I'm done with it, I'm like, oh, that's what it's about. So like, I use a lot of different mediums: acrylic, pencil, pen, Sharpie, oil stick, nail polish, magazine clippings, and paper towels are all in that painting. I was into art a lot when I was young, but I didn't have much support, so I wasn't doing it for a long time. And then 7 years ago, I was diagnosed bipolar. And as therapy, I started painting again. And the painting kind of is supposed to make you feel anxious, a little paranoid, nervous, confused, because that's how I was when I painted it. Yes. I don't have much to say about it because everything I do is pretty much abstract, and it's kind of hard to describe abstract, but
Oh,
I'm doing it.
you're doing a great job of it. I can appreciate the sense of chaos that that's there. But I was also curious. Behind you are pearls. They look like actual pearls to me, but
The whole thing isn't there. Oh, you can see them a little, yeah. At the
yeah, the
bottom.
closed captioning is in the way. But I was taken by the uh, pearls. To me are peaceful and quiet and uh simple beauty. And then on the other part, you have the black and white bold and all your other colors and things. So I was taken by the contrast and was wondering whether or not that was part of what was going on for you while you were painting this.
While I was in, painting this probably over a few days, I was watching, I don't remember if it was a movie or not, but it was about Princess Diana. And then I saw a photo in a magazine of her. She was nominated for some type of award. So she had pearls on, so I cut them off. Her eyes might be in there too somewhere. But yeah, I did that because I felt like calm and happy and in a good headspace when I was watching that.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed her performance. And the pearls kind of became like a nice, happy part of the painting.
Mhm. Was there a particular song you listened to while you were painting this, or a
Oh
particular
yeah.
artist?
The title is "Who Can It Be Now," and that's a song by Men at Work.
Okay.
I'm very inspired by like 80s, 90s music artists, street artists. Street art is my favorite.
Well, this is wonderful. It's
Thank
bright
you.
and really works. So thank you so very much for sharing it with us.
Of course, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Can I speak to Sanika?
Hello there.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And so, yeah, I guess in my background, I similarly have a bit of my painting. I'll kind of shift aside for a bit, but it's a little bit cut off. So this is kind of like the midsection of the painting, but it is called Beach Bash, and it's basically, it was inspired by a trip to the beach in Miami. It was a family and friend girls trip, and basically we were, celebrating a fun occasion. And when I came back from the trip, like months later, I was actually, just trying to remember it, and this particular memory stuck in my mind of three shadows in front of us as we were walking along the beach. Um, kind of elongated figures, and I was just trying to figure out how I could make it into a creative, use it as a creative outlet, basically. And so my prior experience with painting had pretty much focused more so on maybe impressionistic styles, or like more soft and flowing kind of techniques. But this time I kind of wanted to think outside the box a little, and it had been quite a few months since I had painted last. So I did want to try to see how I could evolve in my style and all. And at the same time, I was getting some feedback and guidance from a wonderful art instructor. And so she was helping me think outside the box, and I was always drawn to color. So I was like, let me just create these shadows in a more colorful way and a more fun way, so that it kind of illustrates more of that, festive experience that I had down there. So that's kind of how this came about, which is basically starting with a single dab of color that was, just repetitively made over and over again with different shades, and then mixing different colors as well to create new ones. And I was really just kind of having fun with it, and making a meditative experience out of it, the way several of us have talked about today. And then what ended up happening was really just, focusing in on certain patches of color, and then being able to either find something to contrast with it, or otherwise complement it, so that it would be, so that it wouldn't, or basically so that everything would be evenly spaced out, and kind of spontaneous at the same time. And that's kind of what this came about. But basically, I enjoy trying to bring a smile to people's faces, and hopefully it takes you to someplace warm and, a little more fun and friendly than this gloomy weather we're having recently here. Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's magnificently colored, and if people go to our website or a little while we show it, it really does look like the beach. This looks like the sand, and you can see where the water is. I was just wondering what it looks to me like you have different brush strokes, and what your choices were in what brush stroke you used where, and was it related to a particular color?
But that's a great question. I think in the beginning, when I started, I was not really being picky about which brush I was using or what kind of stroke I was using. In fact, when I started, I actually started with trying to just create more of those ripples and ridges in the sand that you see, that are like, the little ups and downs, just not like naturally created by wind or people's footsteps, or sand castles in the beach, or whatever it is. So I was trying to be a little more realistic with it, but then I realized that wasn't very practical, because I would either have to go extremely detailed and use very, very, very thin brush strokes throughout the entire canvas to kind of create those ridges, or I can make it easier on myself and just use a thicker brush and create those dabs, like kind of upward curves, sort of like a smile, in fact. And I think that kind of subconsciously probably entered the painting, in terms of the happy feeling that I had, like it just kind of reflected in the upward smiley sort of motions, and kept going from there. So yeah, I think the only real difference was probably with the metallic sort of accents that I put in there as little, just ways to add shine to the painting, and then the water, of course, was like a little bit of a different brush stroke as well because of the like the foaminess of it and kind of how it was a little more bubbly. So I think I tried to incorporate my brush strokes that way.
Well, it's beautiful and it makes me smile. So
Achieved the
I,
mission.
I thank you for sharing it with us.
Absolutely, I'm happy to.
So I believe we have spoken to all the artists that are here today. And I thank you all. Next, I am going to share my screen and show you all the video of all of your wonderful and amazing pieces. So fingers crossed, here goes. I think you should give yourselves all a round of applause. The artwork gets better and better all the time. And I'm honored to have shown that to all of you. And I'm going to say that there were some questions for different artists in the Q&A. And if you go to the Rockland Arts Festival website and click on the person's picture, you can find them through their Instagram account and actually ask your questions and make further connections and possible collaborations that way. I guess for our final thing, I'm going to ask Dorothy to announce the ACOR Art Awards so we can find out who the People Choice Awards are. So, Dorothy.
Thank you, Debbie. And thank you to all. Barbara, first of all, your presentation was great, and everybody, your artwork and the way you talked about it was very impressive, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. I just wanted to say that ACOR is very excited that we were one of the sponsors for the Rockland Arts Festival this year. And I am thrilled to be here tonight to announce the 3 recipients of the 2024 ACOR Award, which was previously called the People's Choice Award. So I just think that's really awesome to be doing this tonight, like the Oscars. The 3 recipients will receive a video feature of their artwork on the Rockland Arts Festival Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook platforms. So without any further ado, or a drum roll if anybody wants to try it, the ACOR Awards go to Sharon Seidel, Anne Constantino Beck, and Anita Rachel. So on behalf of ACOR, congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. And you will get an email from the Rockland Arts Festival to talk about your awards. And we are very happy for you, and it's been a wonderful evening. I thank you for spending your time with the Rockland Arts Festival. If you go to rocklandartsfestival.org, we have days and days and days of more wonderful arts related things to show you with different types of art. And we're looking forward to seeing you there. So thank you again, Barbara. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you all to all the artists and everyone who's come tonight. Have a great evening.